feel like 500 units, we could easily crush that. We have another 419 that we're closing on in the next week or two. So, like I said, 500 is going to be easy. So maybe we underestimated our goals a little bit. It can always be changed, Our goals don't necessarily have to be something that's one type of goal and then you hit it and then you stop.
Yeah, absolutely. All right, so what is the number one key to success when it comes to income producing assets or multifamily?
Run your numbers. Sure, you run realistic numbers. That's the key, right? Be realistic. Play it out in your head how you're gonna do your, I think underwriting, right? Underwriting and due diligence is really important for these bigger assets. So when you underwrite, you have to play in your head how you're gonna take this, let's say, vacant property up to where it's fully occupied. Instead of saying, hey, we're gonna have, 400 units fixed up. They say, no, we're gonna have 400 units fixed up within 3 years. First year, we're gonna do about 120 units. Second year, we're gonna do another 120. Third year, like that, right? Because you're not gonna vacate the entire building all in one shot. There's no way. So as people move out, you come in, you fix up the units. And also, they're not gonna renovate every unit 100%. So we kind of did it like step by step, which I like, instead of some, and put a lot of thought into it.
Absolutely, I love it. Welcome to the Income Producing Assets Show. I am your host, Erwin Anderson, and here at Ender Enterprise, we choose to focus on achieving financial security through income producing assets. And today, we are here with none other, Joey Chan from New Jersey. It's definitely an honor to have you on the show. Joey, how you doing today?
Erwin, thanks for having me on the show. I love what you've been doing. I know some of your other guests from the past, so awesome. Thanks for having me on the show. So honored.
Absolutely. It's an honor to have you on, Joey. Definitely started the real estate meetups in the New York, New Jersey area. I was able to attend his annual summit. To just give you a breakdown a little bit about Joey Chan. Joey has owned a construction company for 20 consecutive years to enhance his knowledge, becoming a certified home inspector in 2006. In 2008, Joey started investing in real estate, purchasing his first non-owner occupied rental in West Orange, New Jersey, for all my Jersey folks out there. In 2010, he purchased a commercial real estate property in New Jersey City. He has been involved in real estate ever since. To this date, Joey and his partner own 60 plus JV rentals, mortgage notes, and have been directly involved in over 60 plus real estate transactions. Joey's a GP, also known as general partner, in 2008 units in Dallas, Texas, and 76 units as an LP in Georgia. Joey loves to travel with his family to new destinations all around the world. He has 3 beautiful children, Stephanie, Victoria, and Bruce. Shouts out to them. And he's recently celebrated his 15th year anniversary with his wife, James. Congratulations to that.
Thank you.
Beautiful. Joey also owns other businesses as well, including a 6,000 plus square foot restaurant and a kitchen cabinet sales showroom. Joey and his co-host, Jonathan Boyle, has a weekly real estate podcast called The Newbie Real Estate Investors, which can be heard on YouTube, Apple Podcasts, Google, Spotify, and many other popular podcasts. So none other than live in the flesh, the myth, the man, the legend, Joey Chan. How you doing today?
I'm doing fantastic, man. It's a little rainy out here, like we were saying earlier, but otherwise it is amazing. It's good to be around. So yeah, we got new goals coming, so it's amazing to be here.
Awesome. What are your goals for 2023?
For 2023, our goals, we haven't actually had the chance to sit down and discuss it in detail, but our goals in general is to get another 500 units of rental. All right. Just keep going with that, doing more syndications, getting into more deals. I feel like 500 units, we could easily crush that. We have another 419 that we're closing on in the next week or two. So, like I said, 500 is going to be easy. So maybe we underestimated our goals a little bit. It can always be changed. Our goals don't necessarily have to be something that's one type of goal and then you hit it and then you stop. Once you hit that goal, you set a new goal, go towards that. It's not always one thing.
Yeah, absolutely. And what's your these 500 plus units? What is there like a target market area that you're looking at?
There's no particular market, but we do like, for example, we do like Dallas. That's a market where we have a pretty decent amount of doors already. The 208 is in Dallas. The 419 is also in Dallas. So we had another a couple hundred units we were talking to another warrior about, and that kind of fell through. So we're not going with that. I have another couple of hundred units down in Tampa, Florida, that I'm talking to another friend of ours that participated in the original Dallas deal. So, there's always deals to be had all over the place. But as far as location wise, we're looking at North Carolina, South Carolina, Georgia, Florida, Texas. So those are some of the markets we're looking at right now.
Okay, nice. So for the listeners out there, can you I guess tell us your story and how you got started in income producing assets?
Yeah, so like your introduction earlier, I was doing a lot of fix and flips, and I noticed that it was kind of like a job, So since I was already a contractor originally, it wasn't a big deal to get into fix and flips, right? Because I was already doing fix and flips for other people, and I wasn't doing it for myself. So I was just kind of like, hey, I'm the contractor. And when I come in, I just do the job you tell me to do. I do have some input as far as maybe, use this material, maybe use that material, or maybe do this design or that. Those inputs I had, but the two things that I didn't know or I didn't really have a lot of input on was one, financing. So the homeowners or the house flipper, they were never able to kind of give me how to finance the property. That's one, right? Number two is how to find the properties, how to get these deals that they were getting. Because I would always ask these guys, hey, how did you finance it and where'd you get the deal? A lot of times, these guys were saying, hey, I saved up money, number one. Number two, I just found it on the MLS or a real estate agent referred it to me. So that really didn't get me anywhere. So then I decided to join a kind of like almost like a mastermind or a mentorship group. So I joined a mentorship group and then I started partnering up with the other students. And that's kind of where I got my first deal. So I started doing the fix and flip in 2017. So that's when I did my first deal, 2017. The ones that I did prior to that, those were almost like sheer luck. I wasn't even looking for those, so, and I wasn't thinking of doing those as a real estate business, but 2017, I was definitely looking at it from a business standpoint. Like, hey, how do I get these deals? And how do I get more of these deals? Not just do a one-off like I did back in 2008.
Right. So you got into a mentorship and you started collaborating with the students in the mentorship to get the deal. And I guess that brought more education and more networks into how they were actually finding these deals.
Yeah.
And then you said sheer luck. Can you further explain about that?
So my first deal was back in 2008, like you had mentioned earlier. So that one was a share of sale. So the person that won the auction at the sheriff's sale, he actually went to look at the property. Now that property ended up being the house next door to where I live. So I was
Oh,
always
wow.
watching it, but I didn't know as far as like who owned the property. Actually, I didn't know because I would always go on the public records and always look it up. But nothing had changed. Like it was the same owner for 6, 7 years, but I knew it was vacant, right? I knew something happened, and they just the neighbors just disappeared because one of the kids was a classmate of my younger brother. So I
Oh,
kind of
wow.
knew who they were, but
Right.
like I said, one day they just disappeared, and then the house was vacant for years. So so finally this one guy came around, and I was like, hey, this is the new neighbor that probably bought the house. So I went out there at the end of the day. I was actually coming home, and I saw this guy walking around the house. So that's why I was like, and I actually went out there to kind of like welcome him to the neighborhood, right? Because this was a little cul-de-sac. So we didn't have that many neighbors. So I knew almost all the neighbors
Right.
in there. So I went there to kind of welcome him. And the first thing he kind of said was, hey, do you want to buy this house? And I was kind of shocked by that. I was like, what? What do you mean? Like, didn't you buy it?
Yeah.
And then he kind of explained to me, hey, I won, I won the sheriff's sale, and I'm looking to sell you this house for $20,000 on top of what I want it for. So I was like, oh, okay, well, let me. At first, I told him no, because first of all, I didn't have that money, right? So then I told my business partner at the time, we were doing construction, and he was like, no, let's buy it. Let's buy it. He was the one that was really excited. And he said, look, I have my half of the down payment if you want to do this. And for your half, I have somebody I know that can lend it to you. Right. And my wife at the time had good credit. And so I said, okay, let me, we'll use my wife's name to purchase the property, and I'll borrow my half of the down payment from your friend. So, obviously that's a private lender is
Right.
what we call it nowadays, right? But back then I had no idea what it was called. So we do all this, we get the deal, we close the deal. And originally what we wanted to do was we wanted to do an attic level, right? We wanted to turn this, it was a little ranch. Well, it wasn't little. It was a nice sized ranch actually, but we wanted to make it like a nice big colonial, because
Oh,
there were
wow.
colonials a block away,
Mhm.
and they, they were selling for a good price at that time. They were selling in, now this is going back to 2008. So they were going for between 650 and 800. So I was like, hey, this house I just bought for $243,000. If I put 150K into this thing, my house is going to be worth $700,000 also. Plus, it's going to be even newer than those. So that was my thinking at the time.
So wait, you're saying that because you live next door to it, right?
Yeah, exactly.
So you're saying bring the value of that property, then the whole neighborhood, it brings the value of the neighborhood up because of
Yeah,
the comparables, right?
exactly. Because I
Yeah.
already had the comps,
Right.
so that was easy. But then what I realized is that I don't have the 150,000. Right? So I'm more ambitious than my pockets are. Oh, I didn't have the 150, and then that kind of brought me back down to earth. And then we decided, you know what, since we didn't have that, plus we noticed that the market was kind of dropping, right? And like things were kind of crashing. So we decided, you know what, let's be more conservative, and we kind of just sort of did a cosmetic rehab on the interior. And then we ended up just renting out the house instead of doing all this and flipping the house. So that's kind of how I got into my long story of how I got into my first rental.
And then, right, cool, cool. So
Yeah.
it just came to you pretty much by just being in proximity in your neighborhood, and you were able to get it. And do you still have that property today?
No, unfortunately, I sold it back in 2011. So we owned a small lumber yard at that time. We had the construction business together, and then we had this house. So we
Wow.
kind of split, we split everything. And well, the house itself wasn't really making much money, right? We were only making about $100 of cash flow a month, like, after everything is paid net. So we were each making $50. So it was kind of like, is it even worth it for all this work?
Right.
You know, I always thought the value was going to go up eventually, but 2011 wasn't the time yet. So I sold it, and then we split up all our assets, and kind of just went our own ways. Yeah.
Wow, wow. So now, you have all these joint ventures, these syndications, and you also mentioned mortgage notes, which I want to talk to you in a minute.
Yeah.
But your background is a contractor, right? A GC.
Yeah. I
Or
mean, originally I started out as a finance guy, believe it or not.
oh, okay, right,
Yeah, but this is like going back to college, you know. So in college, I went to school. I actually studied finance, and I was actually a Series 6 and 63 license. I don't know if you know what that is, but it basically allows you to sell like mutual funds, retirement accounts, life. So I also had life and health insurance license as well. So it allowed you to, sell all those products. It kind of gave me a little bit of a upper hand than the average contractor.
so you go from the finance guy to
Yeah.
the contractor.
Yes. Yeah.
Those are two different worlds.
Oh, it's completely different. I mean, I was like, after college, I was kind of floating around. I didn't know what I really wanted to do. I knew I didn't really want to do finance because I didn't want to be cooped up in an office all day. And
Right.
then I was making cold calls. I was doing a lot of cold calling at the time because I didn't really have a warm market as a 19-year-old, as a 20-year-old. You don't have a big warm, we call it a warm market, right? Your friends, family, because they're also 18, 19, 20 years old. So they're not thinking about saving money, buying life insurance, putting money into a 401k. They barely have a job. So, they're not thinking about these things at that time. If I got into it, let's say, 5 or 10 years ago, where people are in their 30s, fine. Now you can go to your friends and family for that stuff. But back then, like the only person I knew to go to was like my parents,
Right.
and they're like, well, we already have life insurance. So how many policies can we buy?
Right, right. So then you transition into the construction GC, and then kitchens is what you do, right?
Yeah, yeah. So the way I got into kitchens was kind of like I said, I was kind of floating around. I was working at my dad also owned a restaurant. Like he did restaurants his whole life almost, practically, right? And so did I. From there was a client. There was one of our clients. He worked at Home Depot, and he was like the top sales guy at Home Depot. And he was like, "Hey, you want to come work with me? I can get you in, and it's a computer job." So I was like, "Oh, okay," because I wanted to work on something with computers. And this is back in 2001, December 2001. So so I go with him, I get interviewed, and I pass, and I get hired. So I get hired as a kitchen designer, and I didn't even know that. I didn't even know what position I was hiring. I was applying for.
Right.
I thought it was just going to be like at Home Depot, standing around, helping people at the aisles and stuff like that. But that wasn't what I was hired for. So I was hired for, like I said, a kitchen designer. I did pretty well at it. I was pretty quick on the computer. I was able to design very quickly, and you had clients right in front of you, sitting right in front of you, and then you had to be able to design while the client was sitting in front of you, and you had like each appointment was like up to 2 hours. So
Oh, wow.
so you got to be able to like design the kitchen within 2 hours, or you have to set another appointment because you had somebody else right behind them coming. So you
Right.
really didn't have a lot of time to like sit by yourself and think. So
Mm.
everything was really in front of the client. We do things a little bit differently now, but back then it was, that's how it was.
So at Home Depot, and then you take that skill and then do your own business,
Yeah,
which you're
yeah,
in for
pretty much.
20 years now.
Yeah, pretty much. Yep.
That idea and those skills into your own company.
Yeah, yeah. And one of the companies that I was telling you, you know, when we split up, the lumber yard, it had a kitchen, you know, kitchen and bath company in it.
Oh wow, okay.
Yeah, so we were selling, you know, lumber, sheetrock. It was like a mini Home Depot, pretty much. Like I said, sheetrock. We sold screws, hardware. We sold cabinets. We sold countertops. You know, we sold moldings, tile. We sold everything. Whatever Home Depot sold, we also sold it. You know, we sold paint, but we just didn't have as much space or inventory.
So where were you guys getting that from?
All different wholesalers, all different wholesalers, and I knew a lot of them just, you know, being in the industry, and just I had friends that owned lumber yards as well.
Hmm.
So I would go to them, hey, where are you buying your moldings? Oh, yeah, this is one of my sales rep. Here you go. You know, that's how I did it.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah,
Nice. Nice.
yeah,
So, finance, lumber company, the mini Home Depot,
yeah.
your own kitchen showroom and designs for 20-year business. And then where does multifamily, like, how does that come into play?
So I got into, so I always wanted to have something passive, right? Even though I've been doing all these businesses are active. So you
Right.
really have to do a lot. And then what also taught me how to get into multifamily was the smaller multifamily that I'm already doing. That first rental back in 2008, that was a rental. So that taught me how to be a landlord, how to communicate with the tenants, what kind of issues comes up, things like that.
Right.
And then as I'm doing fix and flip in 2017 and 2018, 2019, we we started buying rentals also. So not only were we just only flipping houses, we were like every 3 to 4 flips, we would buy a rental and keep it.
A turnkey?
They were not turnkey. We were doing what we call, you know, we call the BRRRR strategy, right?
Okay.
Buy, repair or rehab, rent,
Yeah, refinance
finance,
and then
and repeat.
repeat.
Yeah. So we were doing that strategy all along. So that's how we were able to accumulate all these apartment units. So I've been with my business partners, like my current partners, only about 2 years now, barely 2 years. And you know,
Oh
we
wow.
were able to accumulate a pretty decent
All
amount of
that.
properties. Yeah.
60 plus joint ventures.
Yeah.
All
60
in,
units. Yeah.
is that all in Jersey?
Yes. All in New Jersey. There's about 15 units in PA.
Are these joint ventures apartment complexes or small
No,
multi?
not apartment complexes. These are
Okay.
all like 2 family, 3 family, six, and 11, a three, you know, all combinations. 60
Okay.
units.
I
60
got you.
units. Yeah.
That you would burr through your LLC.
Yes. Yeah. Different LLCs, you know,
Right.
depending. So we have 2 or 3 of them that are with, let's say there's 4 of us in there.
Mhm.
The rest majority is only the three, myself and 2 business partners.
So you have different LLCs with different business partners, and you guys take down these duplexes, triplexes,
Yep.
quads, and burr them. And then what? Take that money into a bigger multifamily?
Yeah, that's basically what we did. So we joined, you know, we're in the same mentorship group, right?
Right.
So in December 2021, we decided, hey, you know, this is great. We're doing all these 3, 4, 5 families,
Right.
but let's do bigger, right?
Right.
Let's kind of expand. So we decided, you know what, let's do these syndications, these bigger deals. You know, that's the only way to really grow, because the smaller ones are very hands-on. You have, you know, you have a property manager. You can hire a property manager, but that's a whole job in itself, just managing the property manager. So that's when we decided, let's go bigger. And we closed our first large multifamily in August 26th of 2022. the 208 units in Dallas, Texas.
Dallas, Texas.
Yeah, yeah. So that was pretty awesome.
Hell yeah. Nice, nice.
Yeah.
So you got your active, your burr, and that requires a lot of heavy lifting and coordination. And
Yeah.
that's a lot, man. You said 60 units in the Jersey, but it's all in one area. And do you have one property
It's not all in one area. That's the thing. It's all over the place. We have
Okay.
some in North Jersey, some in South Jersey.
Mm.
And like I said, some in PA. So they're spread out all over.
Do you use are they all stabilized now, or there's still some construction going
They're
on?
not all stabilized. That's kind of what we've been doing for the better half of second half of the year of this
Mhm.
year, and into like the first quarter of next year. That's what we're trying to finish up. Just stabilizing it, just getting all the renovations completed, doing the refinance. So now is the biggest challenge, the refinance, because of where the rates are.
Right. Yep.
Yeah.
So are these hard money loans?
Right now, yeah, the majority of them are hard money loans.
Okay. So then what's that, a year, and then you're trying to refinance into a longer, yeah. Okay.
Yeah. So instead of trying to get into these longer term loans at a very high interest rate, what we've been trying to do is talk to the hard money lender and get extensions.
Oh, okay.
I'll give you an example. We have a 5-family down in South Jersey, a town called Cedarville.
Okay.
And the mortgage amount is about 187 with the hard money lender, $187,000. We pay about 1,900, right around there, 1,900, 1,950.
Okay.
That's our monthly payment.
Right.
We generate about just under $5,000 a month of income for that, of payments.
Gross.
Yeah, from the tenants. Okay.
Nice. And the mortgage is 1,900, you said.
Yeah. So we cash flow pretty nicely right now for that property. Now we go to do a refinance and we get some quotes back, and they're all in the $4,000 range. But the biggest difference is that the mortgage amount is,
$4,000 mortgage range, right?
Correct.
Okay,
Yeah.
right, got you. Okay.
Yeah. And so that means we're not going to really cash flow at all. After all the expenses and everything added in, we're going to probably make $100, $200 at most, or break even. So that's why we decided, hey, let's just try to hold off on doing the refinance at these super high rates.
And just extend the hard money lender.
Yeah. Extend the hard money. Yes, it's only interest. It's only interest only. Or the other thing is not take a cash out, right? Because right now we're in the deal, let's say with our own money of, I would say around 60 or 70,000. So with the refinance, we would get that money back and we would be in the deal basically with no money.
Right.
Because the new loan is around $280,000.
Okay.
Okay. So that's why the discrepancy. So if we can bring, let's say, that loan amount down to, let's say, 210,000, I'm hoping, we haven't gotten the quote back yet, but I'm hoping our mortgage would be like around, let's say, 3,000.
Right.
Then we can at least still cash flow, but we'll have to have some money stuck into the deal, which is okay. It's not that bad.
Right. Okay, I got you.
Yeah. But you're not doing what we call infinite returns.
Right. Yeah. So you have a property manager. Just quick question. You have a property manager who's dealing with the tenants in all these, most of these. Is it the same property manager for like the ones in Jersey, or is it different ones?
We have different property managers. So in South Jersey, I know we have about 19 units that we have a one property manager.
Okay. Yep.
Yeah. So we always talk to that one property manager there. Then we have another for the PA, and our North Jersey. Essentially, I'm the property manager for North Jersey because I have a construction company. Any issues or anything like that, I can send my guys there, instead of calling a third party, maintenance company or whatever.
Because you
We
have all the
handle it ourselves.
connections, right? Right.
Yeah, we
Okay, I
handle
got
it
it.
ourselves. We have our own, like not our own plumber, but we have a plumber that works for us pretty regularly. So I'm always sending him to one of these houses anyway.
Okay,
And
yep.
plus, he does a lot of work for us, on the construction side as well.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay. And use like some type of software for when you're self-managing.
We do. Uh, right now, we used to have a software called Buildium, but we're kind of transitioning from that. So we're kind of getting away from it, and we use it's not really a property management software, but we use a software called Stessa,
Okay.
Stessa.
Right.
It's more for accounting than anything. So that's what we've been using lately to see
Wow.
people, if they pay or not. And then we
Right.
kind of use Excel other than that.
Is Jersey similar to New York when it comes to evictions and stuff like that?
Yes, it's horrible.
Okay. So
It's horrible.
you've had some issues, sounds like.
Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely. We were very fortunate. We had one property we purchased to flip, and we were able to get the warrant of removal. So basically, we won the case. This is recent. This is still going on, actually. So next week, we're gonna end up. So we have to call the sheriff. We have to call the sheriff, schedule a date with them
Right.
to go to the house and kind of get rid of all the tenant stuff. It sucks, but
Right.
we told them a long time ago. Like this started in July. So we haven't been receiving any money, any income from this house for a long time.
It's just one. Is it a multifamily or a single family?
It's a single family. So the
Okay.
intention was we purchased this house and fix it up and sell it. But
Right.
the good thing was that this house was already fixed up. So we kind of, so we purchased it. And at the beginning, we told the tenant, hey, listen, we kind of need you guys to move. We'll give you some cash for keys. They said, okay, no problem. And then nothing. You don't hear anything for months. And then, you go back to them, you say, hey, what's going on? We need you to, find another place to go to. Okay, no problem. I'm gonna move. Then again, nothing. It's like every few months they'll reply, but otherwise nothing. And then they were Section 8, and Section 8 was paying. They stopped paying on their portion.
Oh,
We
okay.
complained to Section 8.
Right.
Hey, they're not paying their portion. And then we filed for the eviction. This was all the way, like I said, back in June. We finally got a court. We originally got a court date of September 2023.
Oh my goodness. What?
Yeah.
Jeez. All
Yeah.
right.
So we got lucky. Somehow the court date came up like just, I think it was like 2 or 3 weeks ago, just after Thanksgiving. It came up.
Nice. Okay.
So we had an online court case. And the tenant comes on, is like,
What?
to the
Can't
judge,
hear?
right? She's like, I can't hear anything.
Goodness.
So the judge is like, okay, I'm gonna reschedule this, but for in person. So my business partner, he goes
Oh,
to the
wow.
hearing. He goes to the hearing, and basically, he shows all the documents and everything.
Mhm.
And finally, the judge actually sided with us.
Right.
And they're like, okay,
Nice.
you win the case, or however it was said, and you're gonna get the warrant of removal. So
Okay.
we were like, yay! But you feel bad, as a person, you feel bad that they
Right.
have to
Yeah.
be kicked out
course.
because, but at the same time, unfortunately, unfortunately, it's a business, right? If
Right.
you're not gonna pay me for 6 months, Now I got to make up that bill from my
Right.
pocket,
Right.
so we're not running a charity here. Um, oh, by the way, I do, I am in a nonprofit. I just signed on to a treasury position for a nonprofit as well, but
Okay.
that's not this, unfortunately, you know. So
Right. Yeah. Of
yeah, so we do care about people, but
course.
if you're not going to communicate, if you're not going to try at all, then we have no choice, right?
Right.
I think 6 months is more than enough time. In other states, it's
Oh,
like 2 weeks.
1 month. Right. Right.
Yeah, a month, two
Gone.
months, you're gone. So this is it's brutal.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, it can definitely cause a lot of stress in situations. And I guess that's why, people don't like New York, New Jersey. But the good news is you have that 208 units in Dallas.
Yeah.
So you don't really have to worry about that over there.
Oh no, that one I don't worry at all.
This is
You
your
know.
syndication, right?
Yeah, because we have a in-house property manager that
Right.
only does our property. They don't jump around. They don't have other properties to care
Oh,
for.
nice.
Yeah. So they're actually like our employees in a way, right? So with that, they handle everything. Like I don't hear about evictions or anything.
Nice.
We did have one eviction, but it's not a big deal over
Right.
there, right? It's not
Right.
like,
Right.
oh, every week or two when we have our meetings, it's like, okay, what's going on? Oh, this one is still getting evicted. All right, let's follow up with the attorney. Oh, still nothing. Like every week, it's the same thing. Nothing happened.
Right.
What
Right.
happened this week? No, nothing happened. So it stays on your to-do list.
It just
Whereas
lingers on.
it's like next.
Boom, boom, boom. Right. Right.
Yeah,
I love it. I
yeah.
love it.
You know,
So is this a property management company or are they just
it is a kind of like a regional property management company. It's a large company, but they hire people specifically for your projects or for your property.
okay, got it. So you got like
Yeah.
what, 2 people there or something?
Yeah, so we have four actually. So there's two more or less like property managers and an
Hmm.
assistant property manager, and then we have two full-time maintenance guys. So the
Nice.
maintenance
Yep.
guys are, they're cleaning up, they're fixing any plumbing breaks or electrical, changing light bulbs. They're also, helping doing the turnovers as well.
Nice, nice.
So
So
yeah.
is this an add value?
Yeah, it is a value add. I just put some pictures on Facebook and Instagram. We're doing a $1.4 million re-roofing project on the
Right. Okay, I did see
property.
that. Yep, yep.
Yeah. So we're redoing that. We did a lot of the landscape, changing the lights. Adding new security cameras. Turning over whatever units that become vacant. So those are some of the things that we're doing there.
Is this your first deal as a GP?
As a GP, yeah.
So you went straight to 208 units and then for your first
Yeah.
syndication.
Mhm.
Nice.
Yeah, but I mean, I did a LP deal prior.
Okay, yep, in
So I
Georgia.
kind of understood. Yeah.
Right,
Yeah.
yep, yep.
Yeah, 2021, I did an LP deal. So I kind of had an idea of what it was. And, I'd been going to a lot of these like multifamily meetups for years,
Right.
so it's not like I just got exposed to it. And, it's kind of like the overnight success, right? That happened, but it happened over 20 years.
Right. Absolutely. Definitely got a lot of experience in this real estate game in many facets. You're pretty diverse. Can you talk about your mortgage notes?
Yeah, so that one came about as a subject to.
Okay.
So I bought a property out in San Antonio, Texas, and this was purchased through a subject to. The guy is an Air Force. He's actually active duty. I still talk to the guy. I just spoke to him maybe about a week ago.
Mm-hmm.
Pretty cool guy. and he moves a lot. That was the thing.
Right.
And he purchased this property. He owned it about 3 years, and then he got reassigned to I think Maryland, and so he needed somebody to like. He had basically almost no equity, so he was gonna lose money if he sold it. So I said, you know what, I'll take it subject to. At first, I didn't know what I was gonna do with it. Right, it didn't need much repairs at all.
What is the subject to?
Subject to is basically when you purchase the property, subject to the existing mortgage. So basically, I'm taking over your mortgage. The mortgage stays in, let's say, your name, right? But I'm just taking over the payments of the mortgage. So this is what we call creative finance.
Okay.
Yeah. So basically,
me-
that's what I did.
So let me get this straight. So he has the mortgage. He moves to Maryland, and you take over the payments of the mortgage, but he
Correct.
still has the title to the house. He still owns it
No, the deed and everything gets transferred to me.
to you.
Yes.
So
So
what is his role in it at this point?
At this point, nothing. He
Right.
has no role.
So he doesn't even own the property anymore.
He doesn't own the property. Correct. The only thing he has is that the mortgage is still under his name. That's it.
The mortgage is still on it. So he still has the debt.
Yes, he still has a debt. And the reason I was talking to him was he was buying another house. So he needed to show that
He was getting
someone
income.
else was paying
Right.
this mortgage. So he
Oh,
can buy
wow.
this next house. Yeah. So I was able to show like, hey, these are the checks that came from my company
Wow.
and not from him for the last like 2 years.
So, okay. So you're paying him monthly for the mortgage, but you own the property.
Correct. Yeah.
And that's called stage 2. And you said, well, you
Subject
said
to
subject to. Okay.
Yes.
Subject to what?
the mortgage.
The
existing
mortgage.
Yes.
Wow. Have you done something like that before?
Before this, no.
Okay.
No. But I also same thing. I was reading up on it.
Right.
I attended courses, so it wasn't something difficult. We don't do a lot of this in New York, New Jersey, but like South Jersey, Pennsylvania,
Mhm.
Other places, Texas is very commonplace. Very
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay. Got it. So now you are renting this out to somebody?
No. So what I did was I ended up selling the house.
So you sold the house.
Yeah.
But you
so
still...
I sold the house.
Okay.
So what I did was,
yeah.
I had an attorney do all the paperwork, first of all.
Okay.
So the attorney created what we called a mortgage wrap. So it's the existing mortgage basically,
Okay.
and we put a wrap on top of it. So
Right.
we sold the house as a seller finance to a new buyer. That buyer now is paying me the mortgage, and then I take my profit and pay
him.
the original mortgage. So that's
wow.
My, quote unquote mortgage note.
So seller financing to the new owner right now.
Right.
Okay, got it.
Yeah. So now every month I make, let's say, $400.
Right.
Plus the down payment he originally paid me.
The new owner.
Yeah.
Wow. Okay. So he gave, what was the percentage of the down payment?
I think it was about 15.
Okay. So he paid you 15% down payment. And then what is the interest rate?
I don't remember what the rate is. I did this about 2 years ago. I think it was around like 6 or 7%.
Okay.
It's about where it is now.
Right. Wow.
It was high then, but now it's like it's normal now.
Normal, right.
Yeah.
So then, okay, got it. And then you pay his mortgage. Wow. Okay.
Yeah. So I have a servicing company that handles all this.
Okay, that handles the mortgage.
All the paperwork side. Yeah.
All the paperwork.
So,
okay.
So I don't. The servicing company basically the buyer basically sends a check to the servicing company. The servicing company will pay, let's say, the property tax, will pay the insurance, will basically pay the old mortgage and send me the difference. So that's,
Okay, wow.
quote unquote, what we call mailbox money.
Right. Passive income coming in.
Yeah,
You don't have
yeah.
any tenants. You don't have any uh
No, don't have to worry about if the toilet breaks, lights, none of that stuff. That's true. So
wow.
this is one way to be truly passive income.
Right.
Yeah. And the other way is being an LP
Right.
in a syndication.
And you do both.
Yeah.
Are these your favorite?
These are my favorites so far, because I've had stocks. I told you earlier I was kind of like on Wall Street, so I understood like stocks and all these kind of things already, and even crypto. So with stocks and crypto, you know how hard it crashed this year, especially. Lost tons of money myself on these two things. Basically, my crypto went to like not zero, but it went down a lot. I lost
Right.
tons of money on that. And I had stocks also. That also went down a tremendous amount too. So like now I don't even look at my accounts,
Right.
because I lost so much on it. It's like, oh man, forget about it. Just
Right. Just ride it out.
Yeah.
Until it comes back up, right?
Right.
You don't actually lose till you take it out. Or
Exactly.
you sell it. Yeah.
Exactly. Until you sell it. Yep.
But
Yeah.
real estate, all your real estate seems to be going, rents are increasing and stuff like that.
Yeah, real estate has been very good to me.
Nice, nice.
Yeah, the only one that wasn't was because of timing, and also because it was like a forced sale. That was the first one, right? When I split up with my old business partner, we had to
Right.
sell it in 2011, and we actually lost about 30K a piece.
Mm,
But that loss, I didn't really consider that like a loss, in that the market was bad. It was because we had to sell it. Like, had we given it enough time, like let's say that house now is probably worth a good 450,000 now. So if I sold it, let's say I held on to it for 10 years and I sold it now, it would have made 100K on my side.
So do you consider this I guess one of your seminars?
Yeah, absolutely. They're all seminars, right?
Right,
They're
right.
all seminars. You pay a lot for these things.
What was your, I guess, your biggest seminar, and what was the biggest lesson learned from it?
My biggest one would be the lumber yard,
The
right?
lumberyard, okay?
Yeah, the lumber yard. So I lost almost $500,000 on that. So that was a big
Mm,
seminar for me. Some people, it's not a big deal. Like, I know, for example, like Rod Khleif, he lost like 50 million,
52 million, right?
right? So, but I didn't have that much, and so I lost that like 500K back in 2010, 2011, and that was huge for me because that was everything that I had, plus everything I didn't have, because a lot of that was borrowed money too. So, so I lost all of that. Basically, I just lost like everything. That was a very, very tough time. Very tough
Right.
time for me. It was like one of my best friends. We basically we had to split up the business, the money, the emotional. I think it was more about the emotional stress than the actual like money, the low losing of money. Because I knew, because I was still young. I was still how old was I? Like 29 or something like that at that time. So I knew I still had time to recover, right? Get back to what I needed to do. So the biggest lesson in that was that I didn't prepare, and I wasn't like not financially stable, but I was underfunded for that. So had we been better funded for it and kind of know what we were up against, we would have done okay. Like if we would have had partnered with somebody who owned a lumber yard and they can walk us through starting it and telling us, hey, you need this much money and that much money to do certain things, we'd be okay. Right. So I kind of took that lesson, and in doing, let's say, these 208 unit syndication. So the team I worked with, they were all experienced. They had done plenty of syndications prior, and all these people, they, like, the worst case scenario, one or two of these guys could have closed the deal by themselves, even if we were not able to get any investor capital. So that's why when I did these deals, I was so confident that we can get the job done.
And that was like from your seminar back then, you knew,
Yeah.
okay, this is the way you're going to approach this is completely different than how you approached it back in the lumberyard.
Right. Yeah. I mean, back then, I honestly, I shouldn't have done it, but it was like, you have your business partner who's like pushing you, like, hey, let's do this. We can do this. So it's kind of like you're being sold the dream, and you don't, like, my business partner had no business being in the lumber business at all, right? Like, he doesn't know anything about lumber. He just knows how to go to Home Depot and buy stuff. That's the only thing he knows about. Like, he had no contacts. He had nothing. Like, he didn't work at a lumber yard prior, nothing. Like, at least I worked at Home Depot, right? I kind of understood, like, supply chain a little bit, things like that. So, and then, yes, we did have friends, but instead of just having friends, we should have had them at the very least, like, be a consultant, or somebody to kind of mentor you through it.
Thank you for sharing that with us. Definitely a powerful lessons learned. And then just you're talking about it, and then you recovered. I mean, you're here back stronger than ever, $500,000, and you keep going because you've been in business for 20 years. And it's amazing that you just, I guess, never quit, right?
Yeah, you don't give up. That's the thing. Like, I never had the thought of, like, I don't know, I'm gonna kill myself, or something like that, right? Or running away. I never had that thought. I always had the thought, like, oh, how do I pay all this back? Like, what's the next thing I can do? But I ended up not doing anything different. I just kind of went back, and just went back to work. I kind of doubled down on my construction business.
Right.
And I said, you know what? Instead of, like, taking trips, instead of going out to eat, instead of like, doing all these things, I would just work 60, 80 hours a week, and and save that money and pay that debt back.
Nice. Definitely. You can't lose if you never quit. You keep going.
Yeah.
And definitely, as we approach 2023, I definitely am excited for all the greatness is coming, all the units, the syndications, and the wealth of knowledge. And I know you run a lot of meetups in Jersey, New York area.
Yeah.
And then you recently partnered with multifamily masters with Garrison.
Yeah.
Right. Nice.
Mm-hmm. Garrison is my coach.
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, so that we have a little bit of relationship, and that's why I asked them, hey, I knew the previous chapter leader for New Jersey. She was, she had been on my show prior, and she was actually at the summer event that you came to,
right,
as well. So I spoke to her, and she was like, yeah, just too busy. So I said, okay, I'll take that mantle.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Yes, I'm definitely looking forward, to seeing you at the meetups, working with you in the future.
Yeah.
And definitely, man, I want to appreciate you for just putting those together and bringing the speakers on and the events. Definitely learned a lot of networking, and I appreciate you for coming on here.
Oh, absolutely.
quickly, before we leave, I just want to ask you, like, where do you see yourself 5 years from now?
So I see myself kind of doing similar, something similar, right? But maybe a little less hands-on in 5 years. You know, guys like me, we just like to be doing it. You know, I don't think no matter how much you make, it, I don't think it matters that much. You know, it's just I like talking to people. I like sharing things. You know, so it doesn't matter. Yeah, I'm gonna be, like I said, doing the same thing.
Hell yeah, definitely, definitely. All right, so what is the number one key to success when it comes to income producing assets or multifamilies?
Run your numbers. You know, make sure you run realistic numbers. That's the key, right? Be realistic. Play it out in your head how you're gonna do your, I think underwriting, right? Underwriting and due diligence is really important for these bigger assets. So when you underwrite, you have to play in your head how you're going to take this, let's say, vacant property and, you know, up to where it's fully occupied. Okay. And how long is actually going to take you, and then put that on paper. So I think that's very important. One of the things I learned from this current deal we're doing is, you know, the way they put the underwriting together, instead of saying, hey, we're going to have, you know, 400 units fixed up, they say, no, we're going to have 400 units fixed up within 3 years. First year, we're going to do about 120 units. Second year, we're going to do another 120. Third year, you know, like that, right? Because you're not going to vacate the entire building all in one shot. There's no way. So as people move out, you come in, you fix up the units. And also, they're not going to renovate every unit 100%. Some, if the units are not terrible, you're going to come in and just do a quick cosmetic. You know, some that are in really bad shape, then yes, you're going to like remove the cabinets, put new toilets, new vanities, you know. So they kind of did it like step by step, which I liked, you know, instead of some, and put a lot of thought into it as well. So that also comes with experience.
Absolutely, absolutely. I love it. I love it. All right, so how can the listeners get in contact with you or reach out to you?
Yeah, so I'm all over social media. I'm on Facebook. Just look up my name, Joey Chan, on Facebook. I'm on Instagram, NJ House, the number 4 cash. TikTok is the same. I'm also on LinkedIn as well. You know, so I've been a little more active on LinkedIn lately, as opposed to Facebook. Yeah, so those are some of the social media.
All right, there you have it. Joey Chan, the one and only, the man, the myth, the legend. Once again, thank you so much for coming on. I appreciate you. And I'm looking forward to kicking off the first day of the year tomorrow, and many more blessings to you and your family.
Thank you, Erwin. Glad to be on your show, and have a happy new year, everybody.
Happy New Year.